This is a two-part question. The first part is factorising, and the second part is simplifying an algebraic fraction. So we have to factorise x squared minus 36. There's three things you want to look for when factorising. The first thing you want to look for is there a common factor? Now, x squared minus 36. Remember, the coefficient of x squared is 1. You just don't put the 1. And the highest common factor of 1 and 36 is 1. And there's no x term being multiplied by the 36. So there's an x squared term and there's a term without an x called independent of x. So there's no common factor. So we'll say common factor. Cross it out. The second one, you check, is it a trinomial? Because then you can factorise a trinomial in the form x plus a, x plus b. If it's a trinomial with the coefficient of x squared being 1, then you can write it like this. But a trinomial must have an x squared term, an x term, and a term independent of x. Simply a term independent of x means it's just a number, is the easiest way to put it. We have the x squared term, we have the term independent of x, but we don't have a term in just x. So it's not a trinomial. The last thing is what I call dots. Difference of two squares. The idea with a difference of two squares is if you have p squared minus q squared, then you can write this as p minus q, p plus q. Let's compare p squared minus q squared with x squared minus 36. Make p squared is x squared. And q squared is 36, not minus 36, because if you compare both this and this have a minus or a negative sign. We're just going to stick with the positive p and q, and we're going to stick with x rather than minus x, because technically p can be x or minus x, but let's just stick with positive coefficients and positive numbers. So p would be x, and q, it could be 6 or minus 6, but let's just stick with the positive. And we write it in the form p minus q, p plus q. So x minus 6, x plus 6. And that's us done. You want to check all of these three things. They're listed on the Qualification Scotland, formerly known as the SQA. They're written on the specification that you need to know common factor, trinomial, and the difference of two squares or dots. But part B requires us to then use part A. We have to simplify the fraction, and the big hint is the word hence. If a question says hence, you must use what you've obtained in the last section or at other points of the question. So we must make use of the answer that we found, even if you can use another method. If it says hence, you have to use that. If it says hence or otherwise, you can use any method, but it's hinting that what you found in the last section of the question is highly useful. X squared plus 9x plus 18. So let's plug in what we found in part A. And you're thinking to yourself, this makes no sense, you might be thinking. But if you think the bottom, if you factorize the bottom, the denominator, then you could cancel out. So let's go to the side and factorize this. We need two numbers that add to make 9 and multiply to make 18. They have to be positive, because to make 18 you either need two positives or two negatives, but you can't add two negatives and get a positive, so it'll have to be positive. And if you think you have 2 times 9 is 18, but 2 plus 9 is 11, 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 plus 6 is 9, so we can use 3 and 6. Put this back in. And I think you're noticing what we can do at this point. Let's cancel out the x plus 6 brackets on both, and we are left with x minus 6 over x plus 3. And that's us finished. I hope you found this useful, and best of luck with the studying. Thank you for watching.